In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Windows 10 system for use on the pureprogrammer.org website. I'm going to show you how to set up the different compilers and interpreters that you need when using that website. First thing we're going to do is bring up our web browser and search for JetBrains Mono. This is a typeface for developers that we're going to use in our GUI editors and we're going to use in our terminal. Just click on the blue download button. And then once it's downloaded, we can open up the archive, the zip archive. Right-click on that to get the extract all option and extract all the contents to our downloads folder. Once we do that, we can open up the downloads extracted folder and we can open the TTF or the TrueType font folder and then shift-click, click and then shift-click to select all, and then we're going to select install for all users to install this font for all the users on the system. Or you can just click install if you just want to install it for yourself only. And that will install this font. And we can close down those windows. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look for the Cygwin Linux environment. Bring up your web browser and search for Cygwin. And you'll see it comes up as the first link, Cygwin. And Cygwin is a set of Linux tools for your Windows system. It'll give us a nice terminal that supports Unicode, the compilers and interpreters that we want to look for. And you'll see down there is a setup x86 64exe, which is the installer for Cygwin. So we're going to click on that installer, and once it downloads, we can open up in the downloads folder and double click the setup installer. And we're going to install software from the internet. I like to put all my development tools in one folder, in a DevTools folder, just off the C drive. That way I could update development tools much more easily than if everything's in the program files folder. So just go ahead and put in c:/devtools / Cygwin64 as the location. And then hit next. Hit next again. Hit next again. You have to select different servers that are mirroring the Cygwin software. I like to go with the edu sites. If you're in a different country, you might want to select a site that's closer to you. But I usually go with the edu sites. Hit next. And it's going to download the indexes for those mirror sites so that it knows what software is available. And then we get a search panel that we can use to search for the different software packages that we want to download in our Cygwin environment. First one we're going to search for is GCC, or the GNU Compiler Collection. So just type in GCC and hit return. And we're going to look in the development heading section. If you click on the little plus next to development, it'll open up. And we're going to look for the C++ compiler, the GNU Compiler Collection C++. And we find it, and then we go over to where it says skip, and we click that pop-up, and we pick the latest version, the 9 version that we want to install. And that will be ready to go when we continue the installer. It'll install GCC. The next thing we want to look for is Perl, and we're going to look for Perl in the interpreter section. And there's just one line item that says Perl, just says Perl all by itself. And we're going to click and select the latest Perl, which is available, a 5 version of Perl. And we're also going to search for Python. And we're going to go with the latest version of Python, the 3.8 version of Python. And so we click on the pop-up there, and we're going to go with the latest version that we have available. Build 4 version. Now go ahead and click next. and click Next again after it shows you all the different packages it's going to download in support of the tools we selected. But just go ahead and click Next. And now it's going to begin the process of downloading all the software that we've selected. Now this is going to take a while, so you just have to wait for it. It's going to download it. It's going to install it. And in a little bit, it'll be done. Now it's getting close to finishing the download. Download's finished. Now it's going to begin the install process. And when it's done, it gives you an option to create an icon on the desktop, add it to the Start menu. I'm going to go with both of those. And just click the Finish button. And now on the desktop appears the Cygwin terminal icon. You can double click on that to launch the Cygwin terminal. And once it's in your taskbar, you can actually right-click on the item in your taskbar and set Pin to Taskbar so that it's permanently in your taskbar down there. You can get rid of the desktop icon now if you want. And then we're going to go in and make a couple of preferences changes in our terminal. Go to the little icon in the top left and select Options. The first thing we're going to do is change the font to that font that we downloaded earlier. So we're going to click the text option, and then we're going to click Select next to the font name, and we're going to look for JetBrains Mono, and select JetBrains Mono, and I'm going to set it to 18 so that things are easier for you to read. And click OK. And then the next thing we want to change is the window size. So we're going to click on the window settings, and we're going to change the columns from 80 to 132, and we're going to change the rows to 40, and leave the scroll back lines at 10,000. That's great. And we're going to hit Save. And the font change took effect, but the window size didn't actually take effect. Actually have to close down this window and relaunch it for the window size to take effect. And here we go, we're all set up with our terminal. The next thing we want to download is our Java development environment. And we're going to go to a site called Adopt Open JDK. And this is the open source version of Java. You can get the commercially licensed version of Java from Oracle's website, but if you want to deal with open source only, you can go with Adopt Open JDK. And for the pureprogrammer.org website, you can go with the older long-term support Java 8, or if you want to try the latest and greatest Open JDK 13, you can go with that. Whichever you go with should work just fine. And then click the blue latest release button, and that'll download the MSI installer for the JDK. That'll have the Java compiler and the Java runtime environment both in it. And when it's done, we can open it up in our downloads folder. And there's Open JDK 13. Double click on that installer. Got the license agreement next. And like we did before, instead of putting it in program files, we'd like to change that and change the programs files section to DevTools. And then it'll be Adopt Open JDK and then the JDK 13. That way, under Adopt Open JDK, you can have multiple different JDKs, Java Development Kit 8 or 11 or 13, or later ones if you need to have multiples installed. And it's going to add the JDK to our path. It's going to set the Java home variable. And it's going to install everything we need. And we hit install. And then the installer installs the JDK. And it's all done. And that's it. as far as installing the Java development kit goes. Now the next tool that we want to install is the JavaScript development environment provided by node.js. Just type in node.js and do a search, and you'll come up with the node.js.org website. And we'll just download the long-term support version. The latest long-term support version is 12.16. If you want, you can try the most current one. Either way, it should be fine. And once the download's done, we can open it in the downloads folder. There it is, Node v12.16. Double-click that installer. Next. Next. And again, change program files to DevTools, Node.js. And we just keep hitting next. That's installing Node.js for us. Now it's finished, and Node is installed. Since the Java and the Node installers made changes to the path, you'll have to quit your terminal environment and relaunch Cygwin terminal again before those path settings will work. But let's check our C++ compiler first to see if it's working. Type in G++ -- version. And sure enough, the 9.2 version we installed is there. Now we can check Node by typing node -- version. And sure enough, our path setting's correct, so we get v12.16 back. We can check the Java compiler with Java C -- version. And we get the 13 compiler. We can check the Java runtime environment by typing Java -- version. And we get back that the runtime environment is installed and ready to go. We could check our Perl environment by typing Perl -- version, and there's the 5.30 version we installed. And we can type in Python 3.8 - version, and we see that Python 3.8 is installed. If you just type Python -- version, you'll see that that doesn't actually work, but Python 3.8 works. So whenever it says on the pureprogrammer.org website to type in Python and then your program name, you just have to remember to type in Python 3.8 instead of Python. And that's it. All the development environments are set up for you. And one last thing I want to show you is a programming editor called Notepad++. You can go to its website, notepad-plus-plus.org, and download the latest version of Notepad++. It's a great programming editor, and the price is right, so feel free to use it when writing programs for pureprogrammer.org. I hope this has been of help getting your Windows 10 environment set up, and if you're interested in learning how to program, visit us at pureprogrammer.org.